Hi everybody, welcome to the new Zapier integration. It's a short video to introduce what Zapier does or Zapier does. And basically what Zapier does, it sits in between all the various apps that we have out there. So I think there's about over 1,000 different apps, softwares, and systems out there that have integrated with Zapier. And what happens is, for example, that's LeadsHook. So it integrates with Zapier, and then Zapier then integrates with, in this case, Infusionsoft, Mailchimp, and in any number of other apps. So you can makes it easy, really easy for apps to integrate with other apps by using a third party called Zapier. So it's a middleware product that sits in between the various apps. Okay, so this is what we've integrated with. Oh, the advantage is that now we integrate with over 1,200 different apps. So it makes it really easy for anyone who's got an app that not a lot of people use, in which case we may not have developed integration for it. But Zapier allows you to now go ahead and integrate with any app that you may have. Right. So uh, why bother using Zapier? Or what's the difference between Zapier and the API integrations that we have? So currently we've got 6 API integrations, which is ActiveCampaign, Aweber, Trip, GetResponse, Infusionsoft, and Mailchimp. If you are using any one of these 6 platforms or apps, don't integrate with Zapier because our integrations work much better than a Zapier integration will, and I'll explain that in the next slide. Right. So what are the advantages of a direct integration? It's basically it's fast. Okay, so we normally will pass leads within 3 to 5 seconds of actually capturing the lead, while Zapier takes sometimes up to 15 minutes. Okay, so it's fast. You have many more features. I'll cover that very soon about the disadvantages of a Zapier integration. But when we integrate directly with a app, we have access to the full API, which means we can do things like create custom fields from inside LeadsHook, which Zapier will not allow you to do. So you'll have to create the custom fields that you may create inside LeadsHook. You'll have to create that in your any third-party app as well, so that then they could be integrated inside Zapier. So you cannot create fields automatically from inside LeadsHook using Zapier. The information is also bidirectional. Zapier passes information only in one direction, while with the API or direct integrations, we can actually uh, move data back and forth. And as a result, that's one of the reasons why it's much faster. As a result, it gives us control. If a new feature is added in an app and you want that available in the API with a direct integration, we can pretty much add that in as soon as the API has been updated at the app level. While with Zapier, you have to kind of wait until whoever's done the integration will update it. And lastly, it's scalable. So if you're doing tens of thousands of leads an hour, with a direct integration, we can control that because about how to make the data flow. So there are actual limits that the apps have as to what volume of data they'll allow in. But with the integrations, with direct integrations, we can control the flow of information, which makes the solution much more scalable. Okay, so that's but the advantage of Zapier obviously is that it gives you access to the 1,200 apps in with one integration. Right. So introduction to Zapier. They have they call the integrations a zap. So when you make a zap, it's basically an integration, and you can daisy chain integrations in one zap. So, for example, you could have something like this act as one integration. So you have a lead inside LeadsHook, and once we've passed it into Zapier, in Zapier you can make one zap which will pass the information through any number of of uh, of apps. So, for example, if you want to update Salesforce, you can update Mailchimp, Infusionsoft, Excel, and Zero in this case, all with the one zap. And I believe they call it a multi-step zap. and it's a premium feature, or at least a feature only available in their paid accounts. Okay, the other thing you can do is, or sorry, the other thing that you should do is that obviously the field mapping is now done inside Zapier. So what LeadsHook will do is just pass data through to Zapier, and then Zapier controls, or you set up your integration inside Zapier as to what fields are going to be mapped, which ones are not going to be mapped, and how that information you'd like to flow. Okay, so that's done inside Zapier. There is a learning curve because now you're having to learn one extra zap, or one extra application, I should say, and how to make zaps, and so. But I'll be sharing that in the next video. Also, the apps integrate at different levels, so not all the API features are available. In fact, hardly any much of the API has been integrated into Zapier. I guess they look at the 5% or the 10% that is required by most people, which is generally passing leads and emails between the various CRM slash email marketing systems. And a good example is, though some ESPs, email service providers, may have tags as a feature uh, inside the apps, and they may have that available in the API, but they haven't integrated that inside Zapier. So you won't be able to use tags, for example, if you have an app that has not integrated that inside Zapier. The depth of integration is basically relying upon the least integrated app. So if LeadsHook provides tags, and you have the ability to pass tags through to Zapier, unless the other app also has integrated the ability to accept tags, LeadsHook's ability to pass tags through to Zapier is sort of useless because the other side hasn't integrated tags yet. Okay, so that's one. So essentially you're working at the lowest integrated app, or the least integrated app controls how much integration you'll get. The last thing is the cost. While our direct integrations are obviously free because we provide that as part of the service, the Zapier does have a cost as well to have a paid account. I think the free account integrates with most apps, except those apps that are classified premium, which I think for that you will need a paid account. What makes a app premium is, I think, dictated by Zapier, and I believe it has got something to do with probably usage of the app. I don't know why Zapier classifies some of them as premium, but they seem to be the ones that have the most amount of usage. So we're hoping that LeadsHook is not classified as a premium app, at least in the near future. So most free accounts should continue to work, unless you're doing many thousands of leads, and then you may need to move to a premium account. But I believe a free account for a simple integration should work fine. How Zapier works is basically you set up a trigger, and then a bunch of actions. So an action could be update an ESP, and then you can set up multiple actions. And the way Zapier works, it checks every 5 to 15 minutes if there's been any changes. So it's not a live system like a direct integration would be. Okay, so that's the end of this short introduction. I'm going to go through now and show you how to set up a Zap.